My name is Lydia Lema, 28 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the daughter who kept trying to be good enough, trying to be useful, trying to be someone my parents could finally look at without disappointment clouding their faces. I thought I could earn it. I really did. But everything changed at my dad's retirement barbecue. I spent weeks planning that stupid party, booked the caterer, ordered his favorite foods, even had a cake made with a little fondant briefcase on top. I wanted the day to feel special for him. I wanted, ridiculously, to make him proud of me for once in my life. And then I gave him the Rolex. $12,000, engraved with, "For the time you gave us. Love, Lydia." He opened the lid like he already knew he wasn't going to like it, looked at it once, just once. Then he smirked, not even trying to hide it, and said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Trying to prove something? You're still my biggest disappointment." My mother laughed, that sharp, mean little laugh she saves for moments when my dad humiliates someone. I swear the entire backyard went silent. People who used to say hello to me at family gatherings suddenly wouldn't even make eye contact. I didn't cry, didn't yell, didn't ask why. I just reached out, took the watch back out of his hand, turned around, and walked away. Behind me, someone whispered, "Wait, she's serious?" And then my mother shouted, "Don't you dare!" But I didn't look back, not once. I walked past the half-melted potato salad, the cousins who still call me uptight, and that stupid banner that said, "Happy Retirement, Frank," like any of this was worth celebrating. I got in my car, closed the door, and for the first time in years, I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just done. When I got home, Dave was on the porch sanding the baby crib we'd been building. He looked at me, then at the watch box in my hand. "Coffee or whiskey?" he asked. "Both," I said. He poured both without asking a single question, and when I finally told him what happened, he just shook his head. "I knew you shouldn't have done it," he murmured, "but I also knew you needed to." Later that night, I went to bed early, a bone-deep tiredness, the kind sleep can't fix. At 6:12 the next morning, my phone buzzed so hard it fell off the nightstand. 12 missed calls, 3 from Mom, 5 from Dad, 4 from Aunt Tricia, who only calls when she wants to turn family drama into Facebook entertainment. Then Grandpa called. He never calls unless it's serious. "Lydia," he said immediately, "what's going on? Your mother says you stole the watch and their car." "Their car?" I repeated. And then it hit me. Last night at the party, I'd reached into Mom's purse to grab my phone charger. I must have grabbed her spare key by accident, except it wasn't their car, it was mine, in my name. Registered, insured, paid for by me. The car they begged me to co-sign because Dad maxed out all his cards. The car they promised to make payments on, and didn't. So I covered 10 months of it myself. I stood there in the kitchen, holding the key in one hand and the Rolex in the other. Something inside me snapped into place. Not anger, not spite, just clarity. I had spent years trying to earn a kind of love that was never available to me. But the car, the watch, those were mine, and I was done pretending that any of this was normal. The voicemails from Mom were barely coherent. Her sobbing about how I humiliated them, how everyone was talking, how I ruined his big day. Then Dad's voice. "You think respect can be bought? You'll always be the same disappointment. Doesn't matter how much money you waste." I deleted every message. At noon, there was a knock on the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, Grandpa was standing there, leaning on his cane. His truck parked crooked in the driveway. He doesn't drive much anymore, so seeing him there made my stomach tighten. He came inside quietly. Dave poured him coffee, and the three of us sat at the kitchen table. The Rolex box was still lying between us. After a long silence, Grandpa finally spoke. "So, you finally had enough of him?" I nodded. "You know," he said, tapping the cane against the floor, "your father always said he'd buy himself a Rolex when he made it. Never did. Always had excuses." He looked at me then, really looked. "You giving him one must have hit deeper than he'll ever admit." My throat tightened. I just thought maybe it would mean something. Maybe he'd finally be proud of you. Grandpa finished for me. He shook his head. "Your father's always been jealous of what he doesn't have. He tears you down so he can feel taller." He stood slowly, joints stiff. "If they call, don't answer. If they show up, don't let them in. And if it gets worse, call me." I didn't know yet how fast worse was coming. The next morning, Dave was still asleep when the doorbell started ringing nonstop, like someone was punching it with their fist. He opened the door. My father stood there wearing sunglasses like he was showing up for a negotiation, not an apology. I'll make this quick, he said. Where's the watch? Dave didn't move. Not yours anymore. Dad's jaw clenched. It was a gift. She can't just take it back. She can, Dave said calmly, when you humiliate her in front of 50 people. Dad gave a sharp, humorless laugh. You have no idea what it's like to deal with her. You'll find out soon enough. Dave didn't flinch. You're not coming in. Leave. For the first time in my life, someone stood between me and my father, and didn't back down. My father muttered something under his breath, turned around, and stormed off. I watched from the window. It didn't feel victorious, it didn't feel healing, it just felt empty. I had no idea that this was only the opening move. Dave closed the door after my father drove off, but the tension stayed in the house like smoke. He sat down on the couch, rubbed his palms over his face, and exhaled slowly. I knew he'd try something, he said. I just didn't think he'd show up here like that. I didn't answer. I just stared at the Rolex box on the table, the way it gleamed under the morning light, so beautiful and so meaningless. Everything I wanted from my father was inside that box, and none of it was worth $12,000. For 2 days, things were strangely quiet. No calls, no texts, no guilt trips disguised as concern. A silence so unnatural it felt like the breath you take before a scream. Then the scream came. Dave was on the couch when his phone buzzed. He frowned at the screen, tapped twice, then went very still. What is it? I asked. He didn't speak. He just handed me the phone. It was a series of screenshots, old messages, old conversations, men I had dated in college, years before Dave. There was nothing shameful in them, nothing scandalous, just history. But above them was one line from an unknown number. Just thought you should know what kind of woman you married. My stomach dropped. I didn't need to guess who sent it. Dave looked at me with this quiet, wounded confusion. Not anger, not accusation. Just hurt. Why? Why would he do this? He asked softly. Because he can't stand seeing me happy, I whispered. If he can't control me, he'll destroy whatever I have left. Dave leaned back, staring at the ceiling as if trying to process the depth of cruelty he was dealing with. This is another level, Lydia. I took his hands. It doesn't matter how many people I dated before you. I chose you. He finally looked at me. There was a small smile in his eyes, tired but real. That's all I needed to hear, but my hands were shaking. This wasn't just about a watch anymore, or a party, or a lifetime of emotional neglect. This was my father attacking my marriage, my future, my family. Something in me hardened. That night, when the house was quiet, I called Grandpa. I told him everything. The party, the watch, the car key, Dad showing up, the screenshots. I expected him to interrupt, to tell me I was overreacting, to defend Dad like he usually did. He didn't. He listened in silence, a long, heavy silence. When I finished, he exhaled sharply. Lydia, I should have protected you years ago. I closed my eyes. The way he said it, steady, regretful, made something inside me unclench. Then he added, I'm thinking about changing my estate, and I think it's time. My heart skipped. What do you mean? I'll handle it, he said simply. When Grandpa said those words, it meant something was already in motion. The next morning, he left me a voicemail, short and firm. Meeting. Saturday. My house. Everyone's coming. Time to say things properly. I replayed it 3 times. A meeting. With my parents. At Grandpa's house. With things said properly. I didn't know if I should be afraid or relieved. Saturday came faster than I expected. Dave drove while I sat stiffly beside him, my fingers twisting the strap of my purse. Grandpa's gravel driveway crunched under the tires as we pulled in. Dad's truck was already there. Mom's SUV too. My stomach knotted so hard I felt nauseous. Inside, Grandpa's dining room looked stripped down. No decorations, no clutter. Just the table, 4 chairs, and his lawyer sitting with a stack of papers. Mom wore sunglasses indoors, probably for dramatic effect. Dad leaned back with his arms crossed, looking like he was waiting for someone to apologize to him. Grandpa didn't offer greetings, didn't pretend this was a friendly get-together. He simply gestured to the chair across from him. Sit. Dave sat beside me. Grandpa's lawyer nodded politely. Then Grandpa looked directly at my father and mother. I've made some changes to my estate, he said. His voice was calm but sharp, in a way that made both my parents straighten. You're all here to hear it at once. After this, there will be no debate. Dad shifted uncomfortably. Mom swallowed hard. Grandpa continued. I'm leaving everything I have, the house, the land, the accounts, to Lydia. Silence. My mother made a choking sound, somewhere between a gasp and a laugh. My father sat up straighter. Wait, you're cutting us out completely? Yes. Dad's face reddened. Over a stupid watch? This isn't about a watch, Grandpa said. It's about how you've treated her entire life. Mom snapped. But Frank is your son. Grandpa cut her off. And when have either of you acted like it? I felt the air shift. Dad stood suddenly, palms on the table. This is ridiculous. She manipulated you. She's always the victim. Grandpa didn't even blink. The documents are final. You can waste your money fighting it, but you will lose. Mom's hands trembled. We sacrificed everything for her. I finally looked up, straight at her. You mean the car I paid off for you? The one you told everyone was a gift from Dad? The car I covered every month? Dad's glare could have cut steel. Ungrateful! Dave slammed his hand on the table before he could finish. She's not ungrateful. She's exhausted. Grandpa gestured toward the door. You're done here. Leave my house. They didn't move at first. They just stared at me, as if waiting for me to take it back. I didn't. Dad muttered something angry and stormed out. Mom followed, wiping her eyes dramatically. When their footsteps faded, the house felt lighter. Grandpa sighed, shoulders sinking. I should have done this a long time ago. For the first time in my life, someone chose me over them. And that changed everything. For a few days after the estate meeting, I felt something unfamiliar. Quiet. Not peace. Not relief. Just quiet. Like the house had finally stopped vibrating from years of tension I never noticed until it was gone. Then came the knock. Not polite, not hesitant. The kind of knock that says we're not leaving. When I opened the door, both of them were standing there. My father looked wrecked, eyes bloodshot, shoulders slumped, but still carrying that bitter pride like a shield. My mother looked smaller than I had ever seen her, sunglasses pushed into her hair, mascara smudged. We need to talk, Dad said. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. Out here is fine. Mom immediately stepped forward, hands clasped like she was praying. Honey, please, we're sorry for what we said. Dad nodded stiffly. I wasn't fair to you, or to Dave. It was the first time he had ever acknowledged him as part of my life. For a second, one tiny second, I felt something twist inside me. A stupid, fragile part of me whispering that maybe, finally, they understood. Then Dad kept talking. When you gave me that watch, he said, I knew I didn't deserve it. It made me feel like you didn't need us anymore, like I'd failed. I stared at him. He looked sincere, but sincerity doesn't erase damage, and it doesn't erase what came after. You didn't just insult me, I said quietly. You tried to break my marriage. He looked down at his shoes. I regret that. Mom's voice trembled. Your grandfather is giving everything to you. We're losing the house. Please, talk to him. Tell him to leave us something. And there it was. The truth. The reason they were here. Not love, not regret, not growth. Money. Why would I do that? I asked. Dad's tone sharpened. Because you're still our daughter. No, I said, my voice steady. I'm the daughter you used until it stopped working. Mom's eyes filled with tears instantly. If we lose the house, we have nowhere to go. Dave opened the door behind me, leaning against the frame. Maybe, he said. You shouldn't have burned every bridge you had. I started closing this door. My mother's hand shot out instinctively, but she didn't touch me. She just reached, desperate. Wait, she cried. Ryan's coming home next week. I froze. My brother. The golden child. The one who could do no wrong. The one they always ran to when they needed a savior or an audience. What? I asked. Mom swallowed hard. He called Grandpa. He wants to talk. Of course he did. They had sent him. Their last weapon. So this isn't an apology, I said. It's a warning. Dad's jaw tightened. This isn't over. No, I replied, meeting his eyes. It's just beginning. I closed the door in their faces. That night, the tension felt different. Not fear, not dread. Determination. A steel rod in my spine. When I told Dave everything, he listened quietly, then asked, So what now? I didn't hesitate. I'm going to finish what they started. A few days passed. Then Grandpa called. Guess who showed up, he said. I didn't even need to guess. Ryan. He said he wanted peace, Grandpa continued. Then handed me a list. Percentages of the estate. What he thought was fair. I laughed bitterly. Of course he did. Ryan didn't care about fairness. He cared about winning. They sent him to soften you up, I said. I know, Grandpa replied. That's why I told him to leave. I pressed the phone to my ear, waiting. And, Grandpa added, voice firm, I've decided. No more safety nets. They're cut off, for good. I went still. Are you sure? I've watched your father waste every chance he's had, and your mother excused every mistake. You fought your way out. You earned this, Lydia. They didn't. My throat tightened. I don't just want the estate, I whispered. I want silence. No contact. No more chances. There was a pause. Then he said, "It's done." The next day, he met with them and Ryan privately. Later, he called again. "They're out," he said simply. "The will, the support, the insurance, the house, everything." 3 days later, they came back. No pride this time, only desperation. Mom's voice cracked as she spoke. "We're sorry, Lydia. You were right." Dad's face looked hollow. "I was cruel," he admitted. We can't survive this. Please talk to Grandpa. Ask him to reconsider." I opened the door wider, but still blocked the way inside. "I begged for respect for years," I said. "You gave me nothing." Mom reached for my hand. "We were scared," she whispered. "We thought if we failed, we'd lose you." "You lost me anyway," I replied and closed the door. 2 days later, the dealership called. The car, the one they insisted was theirs, had been repossessed. Good. Let the consequences finally belong to the people who created them. That afternoon, I shredded every old document tied to them. Bills, statements, receipts. All the proof of years I helped keep them afloat. Piece by piece, the weight lifted. And in the evening, Grandpa called again. "They came back," he said softly. "Said they're sick, needed help. No proof, no diagnosis, just desperation." He sighed. "Even I don't believe them anymore." "Grandpa," I said, "I didn't break this family." "No," he replied, "they did." That night, Dave and I sat outside on the porch. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. For once, for the first time in my entire life, I wasn't waiting for the next storm.